Join Paul Linman and Melissa Mills tonight on Channel 2 News at 6:30. From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight, Forrest Sawyer.
Good evening. Now the Democratic race for president is down to 2. Paul Tsongas stepped out of the campaign today, having gathered only half as many delegates as Bill Clinton, and steadily losing momentum and running out of money. Tsongas withdrew with characteristic humor, saying, "Money is the mother's milk of politics, but our mothers didn't show up." ABC's Jack Smith is in Boston.
The man who just 2 days ago said he'd go all the way to the convention today said he had no choice but to throw in the towel.
The alternative was to play the role of spoiler. That is not what I'm about. That is not worthy. I did not survive my ordeals in order to be the agent of the re-election of George Bush.
Tsongas said it was plain from his defeats in Florida, Michigan, and Illinois that he hadn't built up the money he needed to buy TV commercials, and it was only going to get worse.
Last evening, it was clear that we did not have the resources necessary to fight the media war in New York.
Campaign aides say he'd have ended owing more than $1 million had he continued. No one took Tsongas seriously until the New Hampshire primary made him briefly the Democratic frontrunner, the voter's choice.
The American people are deciding tonight they want a president, not Santa Claus.
But his tell-it-like-it-is message of economic austerity, while attracting many upscale suburban Democrats, flopped with those who make up most of the party's voters.
What he was unable to do was put together the coalition of white, blue-collar workers and black voters, and that's what it takes to win Democratic primaries.
Asked today about Bill Clinton, the man he once called cynical and unprincipled, Tsongas said he's not supporting anyone. No hard feelings, but no endorsements either. At least, not yet. Jack Smith, ABC News, Boston.
In fact, the Democrats intended for this primary system to weed out candidates quickly by scheduling important primaries early on. They were trying to avoid a knockdown, drag-out fight at the convention that would only help the Republicans. Of course, that strategy has its problems, too, as Jeff Greenfield reports.
Why is this man smiling? Maybe because he's one giant step closer to wrapping up the nomination. And recent history shows that the best way to get elected president is to avoid a long, bruising primary campaign. It's a virtually unbroken record. Goldwater in 64, Humphrey in 68, McGovern in 72, Ford in 76, Carter in 80, Mondale in 84, all battled right to the convention and all lost in November.
The party which has the longest and bloodiest and most expensive fight for the nomination always loses the general election.
Jody Powell, who was press secretary to Jimmy Carter, remembers the cost of the bruising 1980 battle for renomination against Ted Kennedy.
That ability to have a few weeks to stop and think through and really make sure you've made that shift from a primary strategy to a general election strategy is lost if you have to carry that fight all the way to the convention.
So why is this man frowning? Maybe because history also shows that when a candidate emerges as a clear frontrunner midway through the primaries, he often finds himself vulnerable to attack late in the game. For instance, Jerry Brown won 5 late primaries in 1976 as the Stop Carter symbol.
Right, Brown's going to run for president.
This year, Brown could provide the same appeal for a Stop Clinton movement, especially since he's shown signs recently of being able to track the growing anti-incumbency sentiment. If Bill Clinton can turn back Brown's challenge, if he can begin to think now about November, he'll have a luxury denied every Democratic candidate since 1976, which just happens to be the last time the Democrats won the White House. Jeff Greenfield, ABC News, New York.
One more note on campaign debts. Remember Virginia's Governor Douglas Wilder? He didn't even make it to New Hampshire, but still owes $133,000. Senator John Glenn ran for president in 1984. He still owes $3 million. And there's former Texas Governor John Connally. In 1980, he spent $11 million in the Republican primaries against Ronald Reagan. Got exactly 1 delegate, still owes $841,000. On the subject of money, there is yet another story about how it's being handled or mishandled on Capitol Hill today. It has to do with how some members of the House of Representatives used the House post office. Here's ABC's Cokie Roberts.
New charges today of the questionable practice of House members cashing checks at their own post office hit representatives already reeling from the bank scandal and forced the Speaker into more damage control.
There is no spreading scandal here. There are, unfortunately, charges of some misconduct by post office employees.
Charges of embezzlement and drug dealing at the post office have been under criminal investigation for months, and members have been demanding the resignation of the postmaster, Robert Rhoda. It was read to them today.
I respectfully submit to you my resignation as postmaster.
The new charges come as members are feeling particularly embattled by angry voters talking about turning out their representatives. Many members worried for their political futures are ready to close down or pay for the things voters see as perks. There might be some need for a doctor in the House, but many members now want to pay full price for drugs, not get them free, to charge members, staff, and journalists for parking, and to stop offering cut-rate gifts in the stationery store. When voters seem angry about any hint of congressional privilege, representatives seem ready to make the choice, lose the perks, and keep the job. Cokie Roberts, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Clear evidence today of how angry the public is about all this. In an ABC News Washington Post poll last night, 8 out of 10 people told us they would be less likely to re-elect their representative if he or she repeatedly wrote bad checks. And 76% said they disapprove of the way Congress as a whole is doing its job. That is, the highest negative rating since we first asked the question back in 1974. When we come back, Iraq's weapons of mass destruction. The U.S. steps up the pressure to get rid of them. On the American agenda, help for the single parent. And civil wars, royal style, at Buckingham Palace.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Fleischmann's Margarine.
Fleischmann's Margarine asks, what is good? Oh, that's good. Real good. And that's very good. Fleischmann's, of course, that's good. And will you look at that? Oh, there you go. That's better than good. Oh, boy. Fleischmann's Margarine. Have you been good to yourself today? That's good. Fleischmann's. Be good to yourself.
Ace is a place for helpful hardware folks at Best Buys like these.
Ace 5-star latex flat wall paint is $7.77 a gallon, and these Rubbermaid laundry baskets are only $2.88 each.
Ace Best Buy.
Another reason Ace is a place.
For you.
Everybody needs some money sometime.
Only Western Union can get money to over 16,000 locations in minutes. Nobody else even comes close. Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
From the Pentagon today, another warning for Iraq. For a number of weeks now, the United Nations has been threatening Iraq with serious consequences unless it dismantles its weapons of mass destruction. ABC's Bob Zelnick has learned the details of what those serious consequences might mean.
Pentagon officials continue to threaten Iraq with renewed Allied bombing if the Iraqis fail to begin destroying ballistic missile equipment.
We have said since the end of the war that we've always had military options, that all options are open. That has been the case since the end of the operation. It's still the case today.
The critical period begins this Saturday when a special team of UN inspectors returns to Iraq. Diplomatic sources say the team has identified 10 items for immediate destruction, ranging from castings used to mold Scud missile shells to a computer which programs ballistic missiles. In addition, Iraq must submit concrete plans for the destruction of more than 40 other items. If Iraq fails to comply, Pentagon sources say U.S. warplanes and cruise missiles could soon be ordered to attack Iraqi targets. About 24 facilities identified by UN inspectors as part of Iraq's nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs. The talk about possible force is designed to make sure Iraq understands the seriousness of the issue. Officials say the effective deadline for compliance is March 29th, when the UN inspection team is scheduled to leave Baghdad. Bob Zelnick, ABC News at the Pentagon.
There is another issue of dispute between the UN and Iraq, oil. Iraq wants to start selling again. The UN says only on our terms. Negotiations, which were suspended in January, will resume next week in Vienna. As ABC's Sheila McVicker reports, Iraq desperately needs the money and is ready to start doing business.
Iraq's southern oil fields still bear the scars of the Gulf War. Oil storage tanks flattened in last year's bombing campaign. The Basra refinery, Iraq's second largest, blown apart in repeated Allied attacks. But in spite of the UN embargo prohibiting the import of spare parts and new machinery, Iraq is working to rebuild the industry. Damaged equipment has been salvaged and repaired. Iraqi workers have learned to do jobs previously done by foreign labor. And because Iraq maintained a 2-year stockpile of material, some spare parts were available. A year after the Gulf War, Iraq's oil industry is almost back to pre-war capability. Iraqi officials say they want foreign companies, including Americans, to come back. And they say Iraq is ready to resume sales abroad. But the UN sanctions prevent that. And Iraq has so far refused to accept a UN resolution that would have allowed an exception. The UN said Iraq could sell $1.6 billion worth of its oil, but could use the money only to buy food and medicine and pay war reparations to Kuwait. Iraq's oil minister says his country has not been able to reach agreement with the UN because Iraq has felt its sovereignty was threatened.
They're using the Kuwaiti thing just as an excuse to really force their political wealth on the Iraqi people.
The UN says the new talks will be based on the same terms Iraq has already rejected. Iraq may be willing to go back to the table because it needs the export sales, not only for the sake of its people, but to keep its repaired oil industry going. Without UN approval to import the additives and chemicals needed to refine oil, all of Iraq's oil industry will collapse, and the country will have no way to process even the small amount of oil that fuels its industries and cars. Sheila McVicker, ABC News, for Rumaila Oilfield.
And still overseas, the U.S. says 1,000 Americans living in Libya should leave while they still can. The UN says Libya has not cooperated with the investigation of the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. And next week, the UN may impose sanctions, which include an embargo on all air travel. Israel today, they're talking about hard times ahead, and it is now pretty clear that with Israel's refusal to stop building settlements on the occupied West Bank, the U.S. will not provide $10 billion in loan guarantees. So, Israel is looking elsewhere. Here's ABC's Dean Reynolds.
It is slowly dawning on the Israeli public that without American help, there is little hope that commercial banks will lend this country the money it needs to settle immigrants from the former Soviet Union, and little hope that foreign contributors can pick up the slack.
I think the Jewish community can provide more money, but I do not believe they can provide all the money which is needed.
Israel had already committed itself to spend $2 billion of the $10 billion it thought it would get with the U.S. guarantees. Now, taxes will have to be raised and public services will have to be trimmed. Care for the immigrants, 50% of whom are unemployed, will fall increasingly to private charities. The pace of immigration is slowing considerably as word of Israel's economic hardship spreads. February's arrivals from the old Soviet Union were the fewest in 2 years. But as Israel looks for money to keep immigration going, it is not touching the budget for settlements. Construction in the occupied territories continues without interruption. The government's attachment to settlements has convinced a growing number of newcomers that they are not a top priority here. Some have given up on Israel and are actually going back to where they came from. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
When we come back, silicone gel breast implants. Why Dow Corning is getting out of the business.
The Lexus LS400 features a very sophisticated suspension system. So while life may have its rough stretches, your ride through it won't.
Step on it. It's the final week of Color Tile's biggest sale of the year.
Wow, save up to 67%.
DuPont Stainmaster Carpet, $11.66. That's half price.
Vinyl tile, 44 cents, half price.
Ceramic tile, 59 cents, half price.
Mini blinds, buy one, get three free.
Don't miss out.
The vinyl floors, half price.
Ceramic tiles, half price.
Mini blinds, buy one, get three free.
Color carpet, half price.
Color tiles, biggest sale of the year.
Final week.
Sale ends Monday.
Now, Miracle Grow plant food comes in easy-to-use houseplant spikes. Just use this free aerator, then slip in the spike. It'll feed continuously with Miracle Grow for up to 60 days. New Miracle Grow spikes for more beautiful houseplants.
Rebate. Now's the best time to buy Built-to-Last appliances from Frigidaire, because you'll find rock-solid rebates on refrigerators, washers, ranges, and more. So why not hop on over to your Frigidaire dealer and pick up something new for your pad?
The country's largest maker of silicone gel breast implants has confirmed today it will stop making them. Dow Corning insists it has nothing to do with safety. It is strictly a business decision. Here's ABC's Bettina Gregory.
The chairman of Dow Corning says his company will no longer make silicone gel breast implants because he thinks there won't be much demand for them.
I'm the guy who made the decision we should not stay in this business. I made that on a business basis, not a safety basis. I don't know how I can say that any more clearer than that.
Dow Corning insists there is still no link between silicone gel implants and disease, but the company says it will set up a $10 million fund for research on the safety issue.
And when you say a lot of problems, like what, for instance?
Information lines were active today at Dow's Michigan headquarters after the company also announced it would provide $1,200 to any woman whose doctor advises the implants should be removed. To get the money, all a woman would have to do is sign a statement saying the operation would cause a financial hardship. Dow admits that $1,200 may not cover the cost. An estimated 750,000 women worldwide have had Dow Corning silicone gel implants inserted over the last 30 years. The head of one breast cancer support group says it's time Dow took them off the market.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of women out there who are going to need follow-up care. And we should put products on the market that are safe before they go on the market, not after they're removed.
The FDA may well decide to allow silicone implants for cancer patients and a few women who want them for cosmetic reasons. Dow's exit leaves two companies that make silicone implants, but it's becoming clear that saline implants may be the best alternative. Bettina Gregory, ABC News, Washington.
Some mixed signs on the U.S. economy today. The U.S. trade deficit grew smaller in January, down to $5.8 billion. Still, many economists say they are concerned that American exports were also down for the third month in a row. Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrials gained a little over 7 points to close at 3261. The trading was heavy. We'll be back in a moment.
Because sometimes the day ends and the pain doesn't, we've created Tylenol PM. It's more than relief. It's relief for those times when you can't sleep. Tylenol PM has extra-strength Tylenol pain reliever to help stop your nighttime aches and pains, plus a gentle ingredient to help you sleep. So you can wake up refreshed in the morning. From the name you trust comes Tylenol PM, so you can rest easy.
New American cuisine from the menu? I love it. The white meat, the muffin, the glazes, the spice, the style, the smile, the salsa with rice, the tangy, the trendy, the let me suggest. New American cuisine, the menu, the best. The great combinations, the grill with the care, the new way of eating with savoir faire. The turkey, the sirloin, woo, I'm impressed. New American cuisine, the menu, the best. Woo-hoo.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day fun ship vacation to the Bahamas, Caribbean, or Mexican Riviera on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered this 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but
You look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
On the American agenda tonight, the single-parent family. Fact is, 1 in every 4 children in America is now growing up with just one parent. And of those families, more than a third are living below the poverty line. We've put the subject on the agenda because of a new experiment that aims to provide these parents with a little leverage. Our agenda reporter is Ken Kashiwahara.
As a single parent on a small income, Jennifer Rutherdale had to work 2 jobs just to pay the bills. That meant leaving her 2-year-old daughter with a babysitter at 4:30 in the morning.
I was working 70, 80 hours a week. I never got to see my daughter. I felt like she didn't know who I was. I was just very lonely and depressed.
Otis Battle, another single parent, had to live in a low-rent neighborhood where drugs were sold. He couldn't afford daycare for his 9-year-old.
My son was fighting kids every day. We'd have police bus right in the apartment building. I was afraid that there was something happening to my child.
For both parents, all that has changed. They now live in safe neighborhoods, sharing houses with other single parents at rents they can afford. They are part of an experiment run by a nonprofit organization called Innovative Housing. It leases 85 houses in the San Francisco area and negotiates below-market rents with landlords. Then it brings together single-parent families to live in one house, sharing the rent, the utilities, and child care. Jennifer Rutherdale now pays $300 a month less for housing, doesn't have to hold 2 jobs, and can spend more time with her daughter. And with other single parents to talk to, she feels less lonely.
They understand because they're going through it. They know how hard it is to bring in money, to support your child, to keep a roof over your child's head, to just keep sane, basically.
Otis Battle no longer worries about his son being home alone, living next to drug dealers.
The biggest joy I get out of it is just seeing him get along with all the other children. Instead of fighting every day, I see him picking up books and reading.
This program does more than change living arrangements, it changes lives. Counselors help single parents get an education, improve their job skills, manage their money, and get along with people.
Yeah, get the garlic.
I like garlic.
Getting along with people is a test they face every day. Although parents have their own bedrooms, they must learn to live closely with others and share household responsibilities. That can lead to problems.
Do you want to restructure the way you're handling the chores now?
Once a week, a social worker conducts a house meeting to resolve disputes.
The bathroom has been really messy, though, that's true. So what can we do about it? If you go in the bathroom and it's a mess, wipe it off, or if there's dirt on the floor. We gotta, make an effort.
The real thing that we're trying to work with is not to try to say that there isn't conflict, but what do you do when there is conflict? And how do you communicate your expectations?
They are also taught how to be better parents, how to discipline their children in weekly sessions with a psychologist.
I was tired, and my way of reacting was just be angry with Philip. So what did you do? You yelled? Is that what you're saying? Well, yeah, I got after him for whatever. Well, we're parenting. There are times when we need to slow down and think it through. And why are we doing what we're doing? And is this what we want to do?
Should we be reacting this harsh?
Right.
This is pretty good. We came up with a good idea.
Shared housing is not for everyone. Some parents find they simply can't live with others. But with more and more single-parent families on the verge of homelessness, housing experts say the demand for low-cost shared housing is increasing. For most, this is a temporary solution. Many eventually become financially independent. In one county, nearly half the single parents were able to find jobs and get off welfare last year.
Ring around the road.
For many, shared housing has become a way station where companionship replaces the loneliness of single parenthood, where parents can develop better relationships with their children, where children are more likely to thrive. Ken Kashiwahara, ABC News, Cupertino, California.
I don't know why you could...
And we'll have our final report in a moment.
Reintroducing a glorious name for a glorious new automobile. The 1992 Buick Roadmaster. With its powerful V8 performance and the security of its driver's airbag, anti-lock brakes, and full perimeter frame, Roadmaster is perhaps the best value in an American luxury sedan. Roadmaster also delivers something only a Buick can deliver. Buick quality.
Nice try, Ginny. What's wrong? Oh, you have arthritis? Me too. It's hard to grip your racket, isn't it? Here, my doctor told me about this, Motrin IB. It's the same medicine that's in prescription Motrin in non-prescription strength. It's great for minor arthritis pain. And one Motrin IB works as well as 2 regular aspirin. Try it. You'll have the Advantage next set.
Motrin IB, the relief of Motrin in non-prescription strength.
Flakes? Just flakes? Hey, I hope you don't mind me saying so, but this stuff looks wimpy, you know what I mean? I mean, look at it. Who's going to eat this stuff? Nobody I know, I can tell you that right now. Good. Fine. I made a mistake, okay? But it's good. Simple, down to earth. I mean, that's a muscle, you know what I mean?
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Cornflakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
If you shoot someone, they take your gun away. So should rapists be castrated instead of sent to jail? This one volunteered. Watch Primetime tonight.
You've no doubt heard the rumors floating around about the troubled marriage of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. Turns out the rumors are true. Buckingham Palace confirms they are separating. More than that, the battle lines are being drawn between Fergie and the royal family. John Lawrence has more.
It's official. Fergie's marriage has ended. Standard latest edition.
The marriage may be ending, but the battle royal is just beginning. Sarah, the Duchess of York, has gone to war with Buckingham Palace.
This is an unprecedented and most extraordinary set of circumstances. At the moment, I have to say, I cannot imagine what has prompted her to do this. It doesn't seem to me that it was in her interests at all to antagonize the royal family, if that is how it has gone.
The Duchess, seen here with her daughter Beatrice at school today, took the unusual step of hiring her own lawyers to negotiate her separation agreement rather than allow it to be done quietly by the royal family. She doesn't trust them, and they don't like her.
They certainly now don't think she was suitable as a duchess to take... I mean, they've used the phrase, she's not suitable to carry out public engagements. Now, that's a terrible thing to say about somebody.
It was Sarah's relationship with Steve Wyatt, the American businessman shown here on the right, that got her in trouble with the royal family. Her husband, Prince Andrew, was said to be furious at seeing photographs of the couple cavorting in Morocco last year. That turned the marriage sour.
The indication is that she's going to be cut out from the royal family. She is probably the first one not to retain her title. As it seems at the moment, she's not even going to be allowed to use the title Sarah, Duchess of York.
Titled or not, Sarah is expected to get custody of her 2 children and receive a generous financial settlement. As her lawyers are aware, Buckingham Palace has no wish to see Sarah Ferguson's inside story of the royal family appearing in print. John Lawrence, ABC News, London.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. I'm Forrest Sawyer. For all of us at ABC News, good night.
Those of you who have called in, you're very appreciated. Now, stay tuned for the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour.
Tektronix, a worldwide supplier of test and measurement, television systems equipment, and computer graphics. The Tektronix Foundation, a corporate producer, has made a major contribution to the Oregon Public Broadcasting Program Fund.